Well, morning all. Here we are again. Just having a look here. Looks like I'm ironing my own t-shirts. Lost a bit of weight. Anyway, not to worry. Well, it's all happening at GMP, isn't it, eh? But we're all safe, of course. Andy Burnham has commissioned a new inquiry by Dame Vera Bird, KC. And with his pal, of course, Kate Green, because he has to have somebody to fall back on with all the shit he causes and hides. So anyway, that Kate Green won't last long, you can be sure, with everything that's milling about. And don't forget, in the wings now, we have Nick Buckley, independent candidate for mayor next year. Now, let's all get behind Nick Buckley for mayor. Okay, he's got lots to say, and lo and behold, he invited me onto his podcast, and we did 10 minutes on YouTube, and it's there, Nick Buckley for Mayor on YouTube. Go and have a look. Sign up to support him. Let's give him some help. It's the only chance we've got to get rid of bloody Burnham, isn't it? He's got a good taste. Because my book's out. Can you see it lurking behind me? That one. Yep, well, it's out now. It came out on the 3rd of this month and it was sold out on the day of release. So there's a few people interested in it. So anyway, please have a look, because it does tell you what's wrong with Greater Manchester Police, how rotten it is, and it's all facts. It's not just me poncing about being a stupid bastard. It's all quotes from real people who know what they're talking about. So please have a look, support Nick Buckley. I've always been thinking, really, bloody Southerners moaning now they're getting a few immigrants on the barge, eh? But it's in Dorset, and they did a programme on somewhere or the other night, and it was about Dorset and Weymouth and the area. Well, what a fabulous place to visit, and the last thing it needs is a load of immigrants trailing about and spoiling the place, to be honest, because they'll all be in groups and tourists will be frightened and they'll end up not going. So it is a disgrace, really. But anyway, they'll have to get on with it. Well, not particularly at the minute, because the water's poisonous. Can you believe it? They're trying to give them Legionnaire's disease. You think that'd be the answer, really, wouldn't you? Pass them through the barge, give them Legionnaire's disease, and sit them in a marquee somewhere in Essex. Job done. Perhaps those of you sad individuals who don't know about the SAS and what have you, who I follow avidly, I used to employ 4 of them, absolute lunatics, but great at the job. What can you say? Well, Ant Middleton, do you remember him? He was sacked from the programme for some weird reason. SAS Who Dares wins and all that, a load of celebrities getting kicked up and down the moors. Anyway, the answer to the immigration issue is obvious. You get the Special Boat Squadron, which is the waterborne SAS, which Ant Middleton was in, and you find these dinghies with sending a few drones up. Perhaps hopefully they don't sink in the channel like the government one, and pinpoint them, go and get them, lash their boat to your rib dinghy, which you charge about in at great speed, and drive them back to a French beach or a Dutch beach or a, what are they called, Belgian beach, and slash the dinghy, leave them to it. Perfect answer. The Reform Party thinks that's a good idea. Well, they haven't actually said that. I invented the idea, but it seems to make sense. The barge nonsense, Dorset Constabulary have been accused of doctoring the crime figures. Well, they go well there, don't they, with GMP and Cheshire for that matter, and probably everybody else in the 43 police forces. Why is there so many? Anyway, They've been accused of doctoring the crime figures so that once the immigrants are loose, they'll let the real figures out and it'll look like a crime wave. So be warned, Dorset residents. Straight out the book of GMP, and I don't mean that book behind me. There we go, West Yorkshire Police. Young autistic girl, 16, dragged out of a pub because she was pissed and taken home. Now that's nice, friendly police work. But what does she do? There's a policewoman there with a haircut like Robbie Williams. And the little girl, autistic, says to her, "You look like my lesbian granny." Well, if she's got a lesbian granny and she looks like her, so what? But anyway, locked up for homophobic remarks. Well, I hope I've not been homophobic. Robbie Williams? No. England football team? Well, not all of them, really, are they? About 8 apparently have admitted to it. But not Chloe Kelly. She's straight and got a boyfriend, and she models Calvin Klein underwear to boot. But it looks like there's a bit of jealousy on the managerial side because she only gets on for 8 minutes. But anyway, that's life, and they've won again. Yes, I know, I'm a dirty old bastard. Well, what else have I got to look at? Hey, get on with it. Once, a long time ago, I was saved by the RNLI. My little motorboat conked out and I was being washed, or nearly, onto an island. So I put the flare up and out they came, dragged me to the beach and fined me a vacuum cleaner. Fair enough, I was happy to give them one for the boathouse. But now you see them picking up immigrants. And what about the emergencies that must be happening? Yesterday, 4 lifeboats were involved picking up immigrants in rubber dinghies rather than being on standby. Now, these are supposed to be staffed by volunteers who are in business and like to volunteer freely and give their time. But now they're spending all day saving immigrants, but they're still in the boats. Why don't they wait till they sink and then go and pick the women and kids up? Seems a viable idea to keep the charity running, but I don't think I'll be giving to the RNLI again until they sort this nonsense out. And I hope they're giving the government a bill, because the other day a Border Force boat broke down and they couldn't pick them up. And so all these mugs were picking them up. If they stopped doing it and said we're a charity and can't, that'd help. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Well, I watched GB News for all the lunatics that present it. It's quite entertaining. And then I got a Sky News for the real news. But the trouble is now they're doing ads for pure cremation all the time. Now, I don't need reminding about this. I'm 77, for crying out loud. And I've actually joined. I have a card I carry about me, money clip. In case I croak it in the street, they can make a phone call and I just get collected and cremated. Well, it's all job done, isn't it? But bloody hell, I don't need reminding every day. And then, well, on Twitter, I've been advertising my book and writing to people and adding it to the message. And it's all gone well. But then suddenly I had things I've written knocked out and I couldn't find them anywhere. And it turns out, me having been paranoid and thought I was being bugged, you can't use adverts to sell things or attachments to GB News and Sky News. So I don't do that now. I use another one of me reading the book and they accept that. There we go.